Good morning, children. Yeah, you are able to see the title, The Little Girl. Yes, we are going to read this story and it is written by Catherine Mansfield. Now, what is there in that story? What are we going to read about the little girl? Okay, now, before we start the lesson, I just want you to see all these pictures. Right? So, what is that you are able to see? You are able to see that the parents are scolding the children, and at each and every stage you find the expressions of the children are different, right? First, not able to bear it, about to cry and not feeling happy, and then fear, and then crying, and then not able to listen and give up. So these are the different feelings what you feel when your parents are scolding you, right? Now, just go back and think for 1 minute why they scolded you at that time. This is a very common experience for everybody. Everybody must have felt this, parents scolding us. Now go back 1 minute and recollect the incident and know the reason why they have scolded you. Now, at that time, you must have really felt very sad, depressed, angry, crying. Now, if you think now, you will understand the love of the parents. You will definitely know the reason why they behaved like that. Right? So, this story is about all that. The little girl. Okay? Now, this story is written by Catherine Mansfield Murray, and she was born on 14th October 1888, and she died on 9th January 1923, and she was born in New Zealand, and she wrote many famous stories, and at the age of 19 she went to England and settled there, and she met many authors there, D.H. Lawrence, Virginia Woolf and Ottoline Morrell. All these were there in the orbit of Bloomsbury group. In that group she was there, and the style of her writing is completely different. In the beginning she followed the traditional literary norms of English society, and afterwards she changed. Her brother, who was a soldier, was died in the year 1970. At that time she felt like going back to New Zealand and see once, and go and spend some time with all the memories of her brother. Then that made her write wonderful stories called Prelude, that were really very fantastic stories. Okay, and then she came out of all the traditional literary norms and started writing everything on her own. See, she freely discussed her independent mind regarding the topics she wrote. She surprised many with her style, which was alien to the English-speaking world, completely different from all the one what they were following in all those days, completely different. Now, let us go back to the story and see what is that story and what she wrote in that story. Yes, children, here is the story, The Little Girl. Now, to the little girl, he was a figure to be feared and avoided. Every morning before going to work, he came into her room and gave her a casual kiss, to which she responded with "Goodbye, father." And oh, there was a glad sense of relief when she heard the noise of the carriage growing fainter and fainter down the long road. Right? So, I think you understood that. The little girl was really very much afraid of her father. So before he was going out to work, he used to come there, see his daughter, and gave a kiss, which she felt like a casual kiss. And then she said goodbye, father. And then when he went, she could listen, hear the sound of the father going away in the carriage. And the sound was fainter and fainter. And she felt much relieved that the father was not there in the home. In the evening, when he came home, she stood near the staircase and heard his loud voice in the hall. "Bring my tea into the drawing room. Hasn't the paper come yet? Mother, go and see if my paper is out there and bring me my slippers. So that's how he used to give instructions to everybody. Now bring the tea into my drawing room, and where was the paper? Mother, go and see the paper is there or not, and ask him to bring the paper and also bring his slippers. All commands. Now, Kezia's mother would call her. If you are a good girl, you can come down and take off father's boots. Slowly the girl would slip down the stairs, more slowly, still across the hall, and push open the drawing room door. By that time, he had his spectacles on and looked at her over them in a way that was terrifying to the little girl. Well, Kezia, hurry up and pull off those boots and take them outside. Have you been a good girl today? I don't know, father. So look at the way the fear. Oh, mother told her, now if you are a good girl, you will go and remove the father's boots. So she went there to do that work. And father is in the room. Look at the way she was entering the room. Her fear was clearly visible in the way she has written that. And then when she went, by the time when she entered there, father was looking at her. And that made her still afraid. Then he asked, well, Kezia, with that commanding voice, come on, pull off the boots and take them outside. And have you been a good girl today? And then with all that fear, look at the way she was telling, I don't know, father. That gives a very clear indication that she was really afraid of her father. You don't know, if you stutter like that, mother will have to take you to the doctor. So the way she was talking with fear. So he felt that she had some problem and she had to be taken to the doctor. She never shuttered with other people, had quite given it up, but only when with father, because then she was trying so hard to say the words properly. What's the matter? What are you looking so wretched about? Mother, I wish you taught this girl not to appear on the brink of suicide. Here, Kezia, carry my teacup back to the table carefully. So, the way she started talking, stuttered, that made the father really feel very bad about that. And she told mother, it's time now, you have to teach her how to behave. And look at the way she was looking. So how was she looking? Wretched about, means not happy, very unhappy. How can she be happy when there was a lot of fear, right? And what is the way he commented on the brink of suicide? So here, Kezia, carry my teacup back to the table carefully. He was so big, his hands and his neck, especially his mouth, when he yawned. Thinking about him alone was like thinking about a giant. So from this paragraph, you will know that the girl was really a very young, very small girl, and the father's appearance was really, she felt that he was like a giant, huge. On Sunday afternoons, grandmother sent her down to the drawing room to have a nice talk with father and mother. So she told her to go down and have a nice talk to your father and mother, because when she goes there and talks to them, maybe that fear, she may get relieved from that fear of that father. But the little girl always found mother reading and father stretched out on the sofa, his handkerchief on his face, his feet on one of the best cushions, sleeping soundly and snoring. So that's the picture what she gets when she goes to talk to the father and mother. Okay, so definitely that picture is not enough for the girl to get that kind of strength to talk to the father. Okay, she sat on the stool, gravely watched him until he woke up and stretched and asked the time, then looked at her. So when he woke up, she was sitting there without talking, and then he looked at her, and then Don't stare so, Kezia. You look like a little brown owl. So she was just looking at the father, not doing anything. Even then, don't stare like that. Everything was a problem. One day, when she was kept indoors with a cold, her grandmother told her that father's birthday was next week and suggested she should make him a pin cushion for a gift out of a beautiful piece of yellow silk. So, with yellow silk, you make a pin cushion and present that to your father because next week is your father's birthday. So now this girl became very enthusiastic, anxious, naturally, right? Laboriously with a double cotton, the little girl stitched 3 sides. But what to fill it with? That was the question. The grandmother was out in the garden and she wandered into mother's bedroom and to look for scraps. On the bed table, she discovered a great many sheets of fine paper, gathered them up, tore them into tiny pieces and stuffed her case, then sewed up the 4th side. So 3 sides she stitched already and 4th side she was searching and she found some papers, the bedside table of her mother's bedroom. She made them into small pieces and stuffed them and even stitched also. Now the pin cushion is ready. That night there was a hue and cry in the house. Father's great speech for the Port Authority had been lost. Rooms were searched. Servants questioned. Finally, mother came into Kezia's room. So everywhere they searched for the papers and they could not find. So finally, mother came to Kezia's room and asked, Kezia, I suppose you did not see some papers on the table in our room? Oh yes, she said. I tore them up for my surprise. What? Screamed mother. Come straight down to the dining room this instant. So immediately she told. Small girl, she did not know what to tell also. So I took the papers for my surprise. She didn't even reveal what was the surprise. Then she was really very angry and told her to come down to the father. Now, she was dragged down to where father was pacing to and fro, hands behind his back. Well, he said sharply. Mother explained. He stopped and stared at the child. Did you do that? No, she whispered. Mother, go up to her room and fetch down the damn thing. See that the child's put to bed this instant. So, told the mother, go to her room and bring that one and see that the girl is put to bed. Now, immediately. So now, crying too much to explain, she lay in the shadowed room watching the evening light make a sad little pattern on the floor. She was really worried now. So looking at that light, twilight, evening light, which was itself, she felt like that was really very sad. Then father came into the room with a ruler in his hands. I am going to beat you for this, he said. Oh no, no, she screamed, hiding under the bedclothes. He pulled them aside. Sit up, he ordered, and hold out your hands. You must be taught once and for all not to touch what does not belong to you. But it was for your birthday. She was about to tell the reason. And he was angry because you should know now that you are not supposed to touch the things which does not belong to you. But she was about to give the reply that it was your birthday and I wanted to make a present. But he did not listen. Down came the ruler on her little pink palms. Started beating that little girl. Hours later, when grandmother had wrapped her in a shawl and rocked her in a rocking chair, the child clung to her soft body. So, when grandmother came there, she clung to that grandmother's body. What did God make? What did God make father's fur? She thought. Here is a clean hanky, darling. Blow your nose. Go to sleep, pet. You will forget all about it in the morning. I tried to explain to father, but he was too upset to listen tonight. Then she got a doubt. What did God make fathers for? Because she was always getting only scoldings, so she got a doubt. Then grandmother told her, now wipe off your nose with this good neat handkerchief and then sleep now. Tomorrow morning you will be alright. And I tried to explain to your father, but he was very angry and not in the mood to listen to that now. I will talk to him, don't worry. But the child never forgot. How can she forget, right? Next time she saw him, she quickly put both hands behind her back and a red color flew into her cheeks. So fear is clearly visible at each and every thing. The McDonalds lived next door. They had 5 children. Looking through a gap in the fence, the little girl saw them playing tag in the evening. The father with a baby Mo on his shoulders, 2 little girls hanging on to his coat pockets, ran round and round the flower beds, shaking with laughter. Once she saw the boys turn the hose on him and he tried to catch them, laughing all the time. Then she decided there were different sorts of fathers. So through the fence she looked at the neighbors. Who were living there beside in the neighbors? McDonalds were living there. And father and 5 children were playing in the garden. What was the game? Tag game. So that was a children game, they were catching that. So one time the children there even turned the hose on him. But he was just laughing but not scolding, and they were playing very happily. Then she got it out. Maybe all fathers are not same. There are different sorts of fathers are there. Suddenly one day mother became ill and she and grandmother went to hospital. So mother was not feeling well and so they went to the hospital. The little girl was left alone in the house with Alice, the cook. So cook was there and she was there alone in the house. That was all right in the daytime, because daytime she was there and Alice was there and she will take care of. So this is what the scene what she saw through the fence. Now what happened? But when Alice was putting her to bed, she grew suddenly afraid. Why she was afraid? What shall I do if I have a nightmare? She asked. I often have nightmares and then Granny takes me into her bed. I can't stay in the dark. It all gets whispery. You just go to sleep, child, said Alice, pulling off her socks. And don't you scream and wake your poor pa. So you sleep now here and don't scream, because if you scream, your father will get up. So please don't scream. She told that. Now she was sleeping. But what happened? The same old nightmare came. The butcher with a knife and a rope, who came nearer and nearer, smiling that dreadful smile, while she could not move, could only stand still, crying out, Grandma, Grandma. She woke up shivering to see father beside her bed and a candle in his hand. So that nightmare she got, and she was really afraid, and she sat in the bed and started shouting, Grandma, Grandma. And whom did she see? Father with a candle was there beside her bed. What's the matter? He said. Oh, a butcher, a knife. I want Granny. He blew out the candle, bent down and caught up the child in his arms, carrying her along the passage to the bedroom. A newspaper was on the bed. He put away the paper, then carefully tucked up the child. He lay down beside her, half asleep, still with a butcher's smile all about her. It seemed she crept close to him, snuggled her head under his arm, held tightly to his shirt. So he came and he took her and he went to his room. And there was paper. Removed the paper and gave place for her to sleep, and even covered her properly. And he was sleeping, but she could remember, she could not forget that knife and that person who was there with the knife and trying with that rope. She could not forget that. So she was very, very afraid of that. Then the dog did not, then what did she do? She went very near to the father and hugged him and slept. Then the dog did not matter. She lay still. And then, here, rub your feet against my legs and get them warm, said father. So very closely, very close to him she slept, and he told, now rub your, because she became very cold because of the fear and maybe even because of that cold weather. So he told, rub your feet to my feet and you will feel warm. Tired out, he slept before the little girl. She did not sleep, but he slept. The funny feeling came over her. Poor father, not so big after all, and with no one to look after him. So now she started feeling, see, he was the one who is taking care of everybody. Who is taking care of him? Nobody is taking care of him. So poor father. Then she started feeling, he was harder than grandmother, but it was a nice hardness, and every day he had to work and was too tired to be a Mr. MacDonald. She had torn up all his beautiful writing. She stood suddenly and sighed. So she recollected now what is the mistake she has done. He spent a lot of time and wrote everything, and she tore everything. Poor father, look how much hard work he is doing for us. Then she started recollecting everything, and she really felt pity, and automatically one sigh came from her mouth. And then now father again asking, what's the matter? Asked her father. Another dream? Do you have another dream? He asked. Oh, said the little girl. My head is on your heart. I can hear it going. What a big heart you have got, father dear. So that was the ending of that. So from this last sentence, we could understand that the fear of the girl was completely disappeared, because look at the way. What a big heart you have got, father dear. That was the ending of the story. Very nice, no? Children, we do make mistakes, and teachers and parents, all the elders, whenever they scold you, the main intention is to make you go in a proper path. They love you so much and they don't want you to go in a wrong path and do anything wrong. Right? So that is the main intention of that. I think you have enjoyed the story, and now there are many other things in this at the end of the lesson, and all the exercises and everything are very simple. There isn't anything. You have to go through the exercises and you can do that. Okay? And then the reporting verb column is mentioned there. Here the reporting verb is nothing but the words what are used when you are speaking before. He promised. Promised is the reporting verb there. And said, ordered, whispered, wished. All these words, they are all reporting verbs, whatever we are saying. Okay? So here they gave you, underline all the reporting verbs. This is the first one. And then some of the reporting verbs are given there. Were complaining, shouted, replied, remarked, ordered, suggested. Each reporting verb conveys some meaning different from others. So read these exercises and you can do that. Okay? Thank you, children. Have a nice day.